In this video we're going to talk about how to use the add to depth and also how to apply this add to depth for an onion skin and adjust the fit of a dado. We're going to start by looking at the cut operation, which is the perimeter cut for this job. By default, with the add to depth set to 0, the total cutting depth is going to be based on the material entered. So if we are working with 3/4 inch plywood or 3/4 inch material, the total depth for the perimeter cut is going to be 0.75 deep. In most cases, this is not sufficient enough. We need to cut just a little bit deeper, cut into the spoil board to make sure we get completely through the material. And we can adjust that by adding to the depth. If we want to cut down into our spoil board by 0.01 inches, just add to depth setting should be 0.01. Click Save as Template. That will be saved for the next time we need this setting. So now that means when we go to save this file, the total cut depth is going to be 0.75 material thickness plus 0.01, which is going to be, in this case, 0.76 inches deep, cutting 10 thousandths into the spoil board. We could also use this add to a depth to adjust the dado fit. In the case of a blind dado, where this dado or rabbet of the top or the bottom needs to fit into the dado into the sides, we could adjust the depth of that dado or that rabbet by using the add to depth. So let's take a look and set the side blind dado, or the bottom blind dado. If the dado is fitting too tight, if this dado is too tight to fit into this dado here, on the bottom blind dados, we could add to the depth. Take just a little bit more off of this rabbet to get a better fit. If we think we need to take another 20 thousandths, enter in 0.02 and click Save as Template. That will apply that setting to that layer and save that template. So now when we cut this, it'll cut 20 thousandths more material and make that rabbet 20 thousandths thinner to allow it to fit into the dado on the side. Now if we have a case where it is fitting too loose, if the add to depth was still set at 0, and we cut this, and it was just too loose, we needed to have a little bit more material on that rabbet, we could still use the add to depth, only this time we enter in a negative number because we're going to subtract that depth. So if we see that we're too loose and we need to tighten this up by maybe a 32nd of an inch, enter in minus 0.03. We'll add, which is going to be adding essentially more thickness to that dado, clicking Save as Template. So that is what the add to depth is doing. It's either adding to the depth, cutting deeper with a positive number. So as the example of cutting deeper into the spoil board on our perimeter cut, we added to the depth of 0.01 inches. That means that we're going to cut that much deeper into the material based on our default depth of the material thickness or the default depth of the dado that we had adjusted otherwise. Now we could also use this add to depth for an onion skin. To set up for an onion skin, we'll need to go into the settings, toolpath settings, and add a second cut layer. In some of the versions there was a setting here. If you have another setting that says add or subtract from depth, set that to 0. Close the settings and renest. After you renest, this will add another perimeter cut that's cut 2. For this cut 2, we want to subtract from the depth by 30 thousandths or whatever thickness you want to leave as an onion skin. So again, by default, this layer, cut 2, is going to cut the total depth of the material thickness. In this case, again, it's 3/4 of an inch. So leaving this add to depth set to 0, we're going to cut down to a total of 3/4 of an inch. But we want to leave a 1/16 onion skin, so we're going to subtract from that depth by 0.06. Click Save as Template. And then for the final cut, we need to add to the depth to cut deeper into the material. The depth for passes play into this as well, and you could view the separate video for adding multiple passes in the cut. The depth per pass will be explained in another video. I hope this helps with the add to depth setting and creating an onion skin